First off, let's get to 2x2. The moves for 2x2 are fairly simple and essentially build a foundation for the notation for the higher end bands. These moves include F, U, R, B, D, and L, and all these inverted, which I will explain soon. These will eventually develop into your muscle memory, but initially this is the way that I remembered them, and remember there could be a different way better tailored for you. F is the front layer, U is the upper layer, R is the right layer, B is the back layer, D is the down layer, and L is the left layer. You want to imagine the moves as a clock on its respective face. For example, with the right layer, if you get this move, you want to imagine a clock on the right face. If there is an R without an apostrophe next to it, you know that the move is the right layer clockwise. So as I said, imagine a clock on the face and move it clockwise. However, if it has an apostrophe, it could be known as the move inverted, or more commonly, the move prime. Move that layer anti-clockwise. Again, imagine a clock on that face and move the layer anti-clockwise. Just pretty much follow this for every single layer that you come across. Now, let's get to 3x3. This is essentially the same, and 2x2 is often referred to as just the corners of a 3x3, so it isn't really difficult at all. The main moves for 3x3 include the moves for 2x2, F, U, R, B, D, and L, with the addition of M and M prime. For beginner to intermediate solving, the knowledge of these moves are enough. So let me explain M and M prime. As you might have guessed, the M stands for the middle layer. So when you get M, you want to imagine a clock on the left side of the whole middle layer and turn the layer clockwise. When it's M with an apostrophe or M prime, you want to turn it the other way. This actually might seem different from the normal layers, so don't get tricked and turn it the other way. So an example of an algorithm to perform this is in a ZPerm. So this is the algorithm for a ZPerm, and if you haven't heard of it, it's going to be up on the screen. M prime, U2, M2, U2, M prime, U prime, M2, U prime, M2. The first move is an M prime. You might actually think that it means to move the middle layer towards U, but actually you have to move it the same direction that you would move the right layer clockwise. This might seem a bit confusing at first, but you will get used to it eventually because of muscle memory. And if you want me to release a video on advanced cube notation, tell me in the comments down below. 4x4 is when it gets a little bit more complicated. And by a bit more complicated, I just mean it's more complicated. And it's not really complicated in and of itself. So it's basically a combination of the 3x3 cube notation with the removal of the middle layer, as they have a different name in 4x4. These inner layers move individually using the small r, small l, which I want to note is not a WCA move. And if you don't know what WCA is, it's the most popular officially recognized cubing government body. And if you're planning to compete, small r and small l moves will not be used as of releasing this video. In addition to small r and small l moves, there are actually small b, u, f, and d, but those aren't that common in 4x4. However, you will actually most likely use these during solves, but you won't really refer to them as a particular notation move. They'll be more intuitive. Back to the actual moves themselves. So, if you're encountering this move, you do essentially the same thing that you did for the other two cubes covered in this video. You would move the layer one side or another depending on whether or not the layer has an apostrophe. If it did have an apostrophe, you would move the layer anti-clockwise, and vice versa if it didn't have an apostrophe. This is the same for the small L layer. The last set of moves which you might encounter for 4x4 are the dual layer turns. So these are the turns that move two layers of 4x4 simultaneously. This is literally the same movement wise as a 3x3 and 2x2. However, in this case, you're just moving both of the layers at the same time. A good way to understand it while doing this, a 4x4 is just a 2x2 multiplied by 2. So you can see if you actually move a 4x4 like a 2x2 by only using these dual layer turns. In this case, you can see how these two puzzles are similar and how an R turn on a 2x2 is the same as an RW turn on a 4x4. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and remember to like, subscribe, and comment on what videos you would like to see me make in the future. And hit the bell icon as I will be uploading more videos of this in the future. Click here to see my stop motion reconstruction of Yusheng-Du's 3.47 world record, and click here to see my review of one of the cubes actually featured in my video, which is a Meilong 4x4. Other than that, peace out.